A Classic Tale by The Princess Rarity. A calm night in the small town of Ponyville, with the stars up in the sky all scattered about and shining at the brightest they had ever been. The full moon at its highest peak in the sky, and the sky had turned an enchanting shade of indigo. All was sweet, perfect, and peaceful. However, in a small house on the outskirts of a farm near the border of the tiny town, the lights were on, in the darkness of the evening, and ponies were up and about. If it was late at night, around the time most ponies were snug in their beds or finally retiring for the day, that didn't seem to matter at all. "But Mama, I don't want to go to sleep now," a beautiful little earth pony filly pouted, crossing her forehooves and batting her big seafoam-colored eyes in simply the most adorable way possible. "Can't I just stay up for a few more minutes?" Applejack let out a sigh, shaking her head in frustration. "Now, Sonia, hun, y'all said that about an hour ago, and look at how much time you got," she argued, playfully musing the navy mane of the youngster. "Come on, y'all had your fun." "Aw, Mama, pretty please," little Sonia begged, clasping her hooves together. "Just a little longer for your little filly." Oh, all the things she had to get in them fancy schmancy DNA and traits and all, the farmer said to herself, holding back a small smirk. "Nope," she declared sternly, although she felt the urge to laugh hard to hold back. "Every pony else is hitting the hay right about now, and you ought to be doing the same, missy." And with that, Applejack attempted to pick up her daughter. However, the little filly was too quick and dashed off, out of the room, giggling in almost an hysterical, sinister, and quite clever way that took her mother by surprise. Although just as the farm pony was about to run out of the room after her child, she smiled wide at the sight of her wife march in with Sonia held up in the air via a secure magical grip. "Mommy, no fair! Magic's against the rules!" Rarity let out a chuckle and gave a content sigh as she placed her daughter down onto the floor, nuzzling the little one affectionately. "Well, I apologize for breaking your strict policies in a game of chase, my dear, but sometimes there are exceptions to all the rules," she countered. "So can there be an Young Sonia fumbled over her words adorably, only before giving up. "Does that mean I can stay up more?" "Most definitely not," the dressmaker smirked. "As I said, darling, only sometimes." Little one stuck her lip out and let out a huff, turning her expression away from her mother's in a somewhat mock frustration. "It should be all the time," she protested. "Sorry to disappoint you, Sugar Cube, but life don't work that way," Applejack chuckled, taking off her beloved hat and placing it on her daughter's head, causing the golden filly to smile like she had just won the lottery. "And that means when your mamas tell you to do something, you do it." You clutched the cowboy hat and let out a whine. "But—" "No buts." "Aw," the little earth pony muttered. "No fair." But then, suddenly, a light bulb went off in her mind. "Can you at least tell me a story before I go to sleep? Please?" A moment of silence passed, and both Rarity and Applejack met one another's gazes, only before they equally relented with their daughter's request. "All right, Sonia," the unicorn complied with a sigh. "Which story shall it be? Sleeping Beauty, The Little Mermaid, or what about Cinderella? I know that's your favorite." No, the filly interrupted. "You gotta make up your own story." She caught Rarity's slight surprise and let out a little giggle. "Sorry, Mommy, but fairy tales are getting boring." The fashionista scoffed, and upon noticing her wife's smirk, she rolled her eyes. "I don't see anything wrong with a happily ever after ending every once in a while," she muttered. And once more Sonia thought up an idea, her expression brightening up cutely once more. "That's it! How about you and Mama tell me the story about how you fell in love?" she squealed, bouncing up and down on her hooves. "Huh? What do you say?" "I reckon we could do that," Applejack drawled with a simple shrug. "So long as some pony sticks to the story." She shot a playful glare to Rarity as she noticed that familiar creative twinkle in the unicorn's sapphire eyes. Scowl, Rarity gave a playful scoff. "Twisting the truth and adding a little flair never hurt any pony," she said simply. The farm pony lifted up the little filly and held her in her hooves, carrying her over to the frilly canopy bed. "All right now, Sonia, whose version of the story do you want to hear? Mine or your mommy's?" she asked. "Both!" Sonia decided instantly, smiling wide and clapping her hooves. "Now this is going to be interesting," Rarity laughed. "Well, at least let me start." Applejack declared, clearing her throat and beginning to tell the tale as she sat on the bed with her daughter in grasp. Now let's see. Long time ago, there was a humble cow pony who was honest, hard-working, and for the longest time, she never thought anything of love and all of that. But then, after so many years, never really thinking much of it, because she worked too hard. And on the other side of the town, there was a fussy unicorn who worked even harder because she was stubborn as an old mule. I deny all accusations of that. Allow me to take the reins in this. Once upon a time, there was a proper unicorn who lived in a fine, classy city surrounded by bright lights and simple fabulosity. That ain't a word! You, Miss Get-alongst Pony. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Anyhow, the unicorn had many riches and lived in a mansion with anything she could ever. More like a small boutique in a tinier town. I'm sorry, who's telling this story? The both of us last time I checked. And you got to at least stick to the main parts of the truth, even if you want to switch things up a bit. Fine then, let's see how you tell it. Thank you kindly. Now the cow pony was real devoted to her working, you see, and she had a lot of good friends, but there was one of them that she just couldn't understand. Woo Nelly, this mare drew the cow pony off the wall. What with all her prim and proper this, fancy that, the cow pony often wondered why she stayed friends with the fussy pony. I'm not like that at all. Who's exaggerating now? I'm only doing it 'cause you look cute when you're mad. Oh, hush, and let me take over. Anyways, the unicorn was very wealthy, had closets and rooms filled with anything she could have ever wanted. But there was one thing that money couldn't buy. One thing that she oh so desperately desired. And little did she know it was right in front of her. You see, the unicorn was a very famous mare, a fashion idol, naturally, and she had several servants working in her mansion. One of them, the cook, was different, to say the least, from the rest. The cook was crude, brash, but never did she lie to the unicorn, and thus this was proven by the only 3 words she ever bothered to utter to the fashionista, and that was, "As you wish," although it's secretly. Now y'all just copying off the Princess Bridal. Interrupting is highly rude, you know that, don't you? Your story's dragging on too long and you're cheating. I'm simply putting a twist on it. Call it what you will, but Applejack? What? The farm pony questioned with a raised eyebrow. Rarity let out a little chuckle and shook her head playfully. I think there's no need to bother finishing the story, she announced, smiling wide as she nodded to the sleeping little one in her wife's hooves. Looking down to her daughter fast asleep in the most adorable way known to pony kind, Applejack also sported an irreplaceable grin. And they lived happily ever after, she muttered. Finn.